Hello everyone, and now welcome to a game between, well, this is going to be Deathnote versus Sheik. This game taking place here on Shattered Exile. Alright, these maps are new maps overall, and let's take a look at what we're looking at here. Altar of Kings opening up, followed by a barracks. This is human versus undead. Undead is going to be throwing down a crypt, an altar of darkness, a ziggurat, should be getting up a tomb of relics as things get underway. Forced cross spawns. All right, so forced cross spawns here. You could theoretically spawn this Ice Revenant and Ice Revenant over here on the other sides. There are a good number of expansions. You can expand directly to the north, or well, along the X or Y axis. Axis. And there are battle golems. Wow, don't really recognize battle golems as creeps. Interesting thing to note, they are medium armor, so footmen and militia do take them down. Forest Troll Warlord, it does have piercing damage, so I think if you bring in an army of footmen here with the Fen, you could easily take down this creep camp. All right, same thing here, same thing here. No, the Kobold Taskmaster here, and the armor types are different, so that those are things that you do want to keep track of. What is to the west of you, or to the y-axis versus the x-axis, is in fact different. Also, red creep camps are different, depend on the spawns. All right, so I guess if the red creep camps are different over time, well, is that supposed to be a red creep camp off to the north? Or oh, this is a red creep camp, 65533. Well, with the revenants of the sea, oh, the corner ones. Well, I know the corner ones are different. I'm just looking at the 65533. It doesn't really feel like a red creep camp. With level 6 being the highest one, and then 2 level 5s. But we'll see what is going to be brought over there. Archmage, probably a low level red creep camp. Meanwhile, the corner ones, there's an 8, there's an 8, there's a 4, 8, 5, 4, 3, 2. There with Vampiric Aura, even, yeah, so a little bit of easy damage there. All right, Archmage already out onto the battlefield. We're looking at Ring of Protection +3 being the dropped item. Meanwhile, not Death Knight, the Crypt Lord out on the battlefield here. Gonna be a go wide strategy coming across from Sheik. It's an Overlord of spawns, our top left and bottom right, instead of Revenant. Ah, I see. So just trying to keep track of all of the minutia that is available in Warcraft 3, the depth of the game, very difficult to do, especially as new maps with new creeps are added out onto the battlefield. These new maps with new creeps do change creeping patterns. The type of creeps are associated. Kobold Geomancers casting slow across multiple units, dealing piercing damage, but also having medium armor, falling easily at the hands of ghouls and those skeletal minions. And beetles, for that matter. Necropolis now being thrown down. We are going to be getting up a Ziggurat. Tech to Tier 2 can begin, as that Ziggurat can train up some of those acolytes.
A player's forces are under attack.
Both sides opting to stay in relatively their neck of the woods so far. We are going to be getting up expansions by both players, Deathnote and Sheik, and from there, we may start to see some early skirmishes. No real all-in battles, just trying to disrupt your opponent's strategy, or trying to chip away and see what happens with an attack on the expansion, and at least make them try and pay for that expansion while you set up your own expansion. Archmage sitting at level 2, getting closer to level 3, but won't get to level 3 if it tries to chase down that ghoul, which is just off to the races. Meanwhile, bandits and brigands are already here, so this is a 3-2-1-1 creep camp, which will give the Archmage level 3. Meanwhile, a ghoul is simply running on by, trying to get a quick check of what is going on across the map here. All right, and more ghouls still swarming in this place, as Sheik is about to set up his expansion, about halfway done on that haunted gold mine. Scout Tower now nearly done. Scout Tower is already done now, upgrading to Arcane Tower. Town Hall, not much really going on back at home, as Deathnote does have a large number of peasants 21 workers at this point and stage in the game, significantly more than necessary, as he may try and use militia to try and clear up some creep camps and not worry about whether or not they fall. All right. Archmage engaging here, a little bit of battle going back and forth. Cryptlord is sitting at level 3 with level 2 beetles as well. Footman going to continue to battle it up, and still Goblin, Archmage is going to try and come around the other side. We are looking at, an illusionary Crypt Lord there, and what is this followed up behind? A decent amount of ghouls. There is going to be two footmen and one arcane tower to try and defend this location, but it may not be enough. Meanwhile, a critical impale from Sheik stopping some of those units here, as the footman, now down to 39 hit points, could easily get taken down. Yes, ends up getting denied. Back off to the north here, footmen trying to engage against the acolytes. Meanwhile, ghouls are fighting the back here. There is a goblin shredder amongst all of this. So Deathnote really investing heavy into lumber, but perhaps also grabbing that goblin shredder. He does act as a bit of defense at the natural expansion, which does not have access to called arms. No militia, meaning that base is a little bit more difficult to try and keep alive. Archmage still wandering around here. Footman still trying to put pressure inside the main base, as the Necropolis has suffered quite a bit of damage here. 32 supply compared to 47 Deathnote, doing a great job. One water elemental still in the back here. He's still mining off of multiple bases, and he's forcing his opponent to just constantly try and engage here. However, the experience advantage may grow and grow for Sheik, as one footman about to get taken down and another footman to follow momentarily. All right, that footman down to 107 hit points. Are we going to see an impale land, and well, 1-2 level 4 on that Crypt Lord. Level 4 Crypt Lord going up a level 3 Archmage. The economic advantage, however, a slight for Deathnote, as Deathnote does have the larger army as well, transitioning in, building a blacksmith, transitioning to rifleman, and now also upgrading the tier 2 and getting up some towers of his own. Back at Sheik's expansion at the 3 o'clock, it is going to be fairly well protected. One Nerubian Nerubian Tower, followed by we should be getting some Spirit Towers as well. Altar of Darkness also being placed down, since it looks like it was unsummoned earlier for that early expansion. Goblin Zeppelin now being picked up here. Oh, this could be a big sapper drop, and now in comes the units. Are they going to be able to make their way in? Yes, they do, but they do not hit the right target. The Nerubian Tower should have been the primary target. It was not targeted at all. Instead, it destroyed the Tomb of Relics. It blew up a little bit too early, but the Tomb of Relics does represent a pretty important building, even though he has one not too far away. All right, Goblin Zeppelin could still go for a little bit more drops. Beetles could be trying to venture their way forward. We are getting up some scout towers, and we are getting up some early farms as well to try and play a little bit of traffic against all of these units who are trying to make their way in. All right, that, well, poor peasant doesn't look like it's going to survive. No, ends up getting denied here. Arcane Tower looking to finish off more of those units. Farms are nearly completed, and well, Zeppelin now going to be heading over here to the back left. What are we looking forward for in this matchup? We're looking to see, well, Deathnote quickly going straight into tier 3. He is getting up a Mountain King, maybe also trying to go for a Paladin here, and we can see what Deathnote's long-term strategy was. With the addition of the barracks, the lumber mill, he should be going for perhaps some knights and some flying machines, but he is also adding in a priest into this army composition as well. Deathnote still purposely staying out of high upkeep. He's sitting at 49 supply, and he is currently down in terms of hero levels as he catches his opponent here. Death Knight, however, nearby. There's a quick impale, picking up all of those units. Death Knight going to go ahead and Death Coil, finish off some more units, forcing Deathnote to try and retreat. Sheik really punishing his opponent here, especially without the added damage and the added fighting ability with that Mountain King, who is just now joining the fight. Level 3, level 1 going up against a level 4, level 1. Tech to tier 3 is nearly done for the undead. We could be getting up orbs of corruption. We could be getting up orbs of fire as well. As well, we are getting in additional upgrades 1-1 upgrades, and still waiting to see whether or not we will be going for and any knights. We are going for dual Arcane Sanctum, which does come as a surprise to me. Seeing double workshop, a barracks, and dual Arcane Sanctums, that is a lot of production
Radiant's
buildings
forces are
with
under attack.
the Steel 4 blades. That doesn't quite make that much sense. Are you going to be trying to train up more than priest from these Arcane Sanctums? And if you are, how many do you really need in order to keep your army healed? Four 3 types. He should go tanks on Miguel. All right. Archmage, Mountain King looking to retreat back here. The Haunted Gold Mine was shut down. No clearing of the expansion over here on the south
Radiant's
side.
forces are
Meanwhile,
under
Death
attack.
Knight does pick up Rune Bracers. Fly Machine keeping track of the undead army. 48 supply compared to 48 as Death Note starting to bank up not only a large amount of gold, but a large amount of lumber to train up any combination of units that he really wants. Meanwhile, back off to the south here, Ice Revenant could easily be cleared up. There is a lot of priests here, but I don't see that much damage really being brought forth. On top of that, the Rogue and Renegade Wizards casting Lightning or Purge onto the Water Elemental, quickly removing that there, as the Ice Revenant could really just destroy this creep camp or this army pretty easily. Mountain King trying to absorb a little bit of damage. 3 priests trying to keep all the heals going as the Ice Revenant about to get taken down, finally gets taken down here as we are looking at what is the item, Warsong Battle Drums perhaps? Yeah, that does seem to be the case. Meanwhile, Undead doing a little bit of creeping as well, trying to get that Death Knight to level 3. We do have a staff of Sanctuary to teleport
Radiant's
units
forces
back
are
home,
under attack.
and this was my concern. Deathnote with a whole bunch of priests and no army to really try and deal damage. Last of these units are going to get finished off. There's a Rogue Wizard, last Renegade Wizard going to get cleaned up. We're looking at the Death Knight here. She could really punish his opponent here. Oh, going into Spellbreakers. So Spellbreakers are going to be the unit of choice. Mountain King gets up to level 2, so Knights, Spellbreakers, and Priest with Fly Machines, as opposed to just constantly double training Priest here. 55 supply compared to 61. Deathnote training up some more knights, queuing them up. He does have dual workshops, not training up fly machines as of yet, as Sheik hasn't committed to the correct number of destroyers for flying machines to really be useful. Archmage does have that orb of fire to try and reduce the healing. Lich is out onto the battlefield with the orb of corruption, as well. This is really where the game takes place. Sentry Ward's Manual of Health. Archmage trying to go after units here. Are we going to perhaps see a Stormbolt anywhere? No, we are not. Trying to go after a Banshee would even work, as the Priest also have Inner Fire, but that most likely will just be devoured. Level 4, level 2, level 1 going up against a 5-3-1. A big advantage by Sheik. Those impales, those death coils, and could easily start picking off those backline priests if they are just a bit too exposed. Orb of Corruption, there goes an impale, only hitting the Mountain King there, forcing a bit of an engagement. Holy Light followed by a Thunderclap. Stormbolt onto the Death Knight. He is stunned but doesn't take any real damage as he now tries to retreat back. Knights or Spellbreakers trying to catch up to all of those units here. Death or Crypt Fiends looking to retreat back as we see a surround onto the Crypt Lord. Crypt Lord in a bit of trouble. Are we going to see a Stormbolt there? No, Potion of Invulnerability doesn't want to keep the surround there any longer as the Mountain King tries to break free. Are we going to see the death of a Crypt Fiend? Yes, it does finally get taken down. Another quick impale as the Mountain King and the Knights could be in a little bit of trouble. Death Knight comes across with the Death Coil on the Crypt Lord, but I believe Orb of Fire reducing the amount of healing done there. 4-2-1 going up against 5-3-3. Crypt Lord and Death Knight exchanging some quick early blows. It could have been dangerous for both sides, but, well, Sheik not really losing all that much. Deathnote making, bringing mortar teams to the fight here to try and clear up this expansion before it can really pay for itself, as Deathnote does sit on a 78 to 65 supply advantage. All right, leaving the Necropolis behind, that's always been a little bit of a questionable maneuver there, as he teleports back home, and did he really need to, retreat all the way back at this point and stage? Removing the Necropolis, removing that line of sight, and the ability to train up acolytes and establish up a new base is important. He just seems to leave it there, okay with the fact that his opponent could try and set that up at a moment's notice. All right, Battle Golem's going to fall at the hands of these knights very quickly. Sundering Blades on top of that normal damage as well. That medium armor really never stood a chance. Back up for one Water Elemental, keeping track. He wanted to see if, well, Sheik was going to try and set up the expansion once more and then use the Water Elemental's piercing damage to take down that Haunted Gold Mine. Archmage sitting at 4, Paladin nearly at level 2, Devotion Aura. I believe there was Devotion Aura earlier, or am I getting my games confused? Maybe, perhaps, as a Paladin may be trying to go for Devotion Aura in a little bit. Devotion Aura is picked up. Scroll of the Beast, not the consumable item I believe he wanted, as Destroyers should be joining in on the battlefield here in just a moment. 5-3-2 going up against 4-3-2. The Impale of the Crypt Lord is still rather dangerous, as we see a Scout Tower doing exactly that, scouting out that top left-hand side, making sure that there is no expansion here. All right, couple of Water Elementals going to get finished off here, picking up the last remaining items. There are Sentry Wards and I believe a Manual of Health. Paladin definitely wants those items there. Picking up some double Scrolls of Healing too. And with this, could be the right combination of items. We are looking at Knights with 2-1 upgrades. I don't see that many Spellbreakers, only one so far, only one Sorceress, perhaps for Invisibility. It doesn't have autocast on slow, as it wouldn't make that much sense, just encouraging your opponent to capitalize on those Destroyers. However, we are looking at Sheik with Banshees, and with the number of Banshees out in play, could easily turn the tide of that battle. Now, getting fully upgraded Knights is perhaps one of the ways to actually try and deal with Banshees, as the Banshee and armor upgrades. So your opponent trades a Banshee for your Knight, but that Knight no longer has that full upgrade. So your Knights should theoretically be much more effective, dealing 30% more damage and able to take 30% more hits. Coming back down to the south here, Crypt Fiend's going to continue to battle it up, or it could be 33%. Not quite sure about the numbers, very close. As we're looking at the Workshop starting to take a bit of pressure. That is a lot of Banshees here, and unfortunately, the counter to Banshees are Mortar Teams, but because they are actually biological units, can suffer damage and be targeted by Death Coil, Frost Nova, and the like. Tomo Strength being left behind here. Mountain King, does have level 2 Thunderclap, could try and drop a slow clap here amongst all of these units and, start to rack up some of that damage. One Sorceress here trying to finish things off, trying to, take down these beetles. Mountain King, says, you know what, surprise, I'm here. Not really that big of a surprise, I know. Archmage still sitting up at level 4, but the Paladin and Mountain King are both now at level 3. Anti-Magic Shell gonna keep it difficult to try and rack up any damage. We still could see the slow effect applied to the, but really not that much damage to be brought on. All right, in comes a major Impale, beautiful level 3 Impale coming in from the Crypt Lord, slowing down many of those units. Staff of Sanctuary being used there as the Mortar teams doing their thing to try and damage down and focus down those Banshees, doing a great job there. A quick Impale coming back across. Lich is going to try to get a Frost Nova across those back units and going to try and do exactly that. Finishes off one Mortar team once more. All right, yellow versus green now, as red has completely disappeared, as a quick Impale followed by Death Coil. Frost Nova takes down that level 4 Archmage. Mountain King continuing the fight here, but this is not looking good. Sheik getting up to 93 supply, and we now see some turncoat Knights as well, getting possessed once more, and this is just not going well. The Mortar team's unable to shut down all of the Banshees in time, as the Knights themselves turning the tides here. 93 supply compared to 74. Banshees with possession, turning things around. Are we looking at a big Frost Nova across that entire back line? No, not necessary, as Deathnote gives the GG. Sheik with a great use of possession on those Banshees and anti-magic shell, creating a good fight, starting that fight off with a strong Impale, meant that those knights were stationary for a decent amount of time, allowing time for the banshees to possess those knights. Even though the mortar teams were able to splat down a couple of those banshees in the back line, it was too little too late. Once Deathnote's front line was compromised, well, and the Crypt Fiends could start to do their thing. The Crypt Fiends, with that very strong range, piercing damage, going after all of those casters and whittling away those forces. Very strong steal, 4 steals overall, and well, that's sometimes all it takes to win a Warcraft 3 game. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and you'll see me next time. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I know you have choices for Warcraft 3 entertainment, and I'm glad you would share it with me.